A question has been niggling in the back of my mind for some time now. A question of great import. How long does it take to RP walk from Tindrem to Fabernum in Mortal Online 2? Okay, now I'm sure 99% of the people watching this couldn't care less about how long this takes. In fact, it's probably one of the least important questions you could ask in this game. But it's one of those small little details that I really like to know in MMOs and whatnot. Also, open world RPGs, I guess. Like, how long would it take a peddler who's traveling from town to town to actually get around the map and whatnot? Again, it's not important, but I find details like this neat. So we're going to find out how long this takes today. But don't worry, I'm sure if you've clicked on this video, you saw that how long it is. It's like an hour and 30 minutes or something like that. It's kind of crazy. Don't worry. Uh, I'm front loading all the information in this video, how long it takes and whatnot, to the front. And then everything after this first part will just be me giving some rambling commentary as I actually do the walks in the game in full. You really don't need to watch them if you don't want to. The first part of it takes place in Mortal Online 1, and I'm a little more coherent in that part, and there's some questions I ask that I wouldn't mind getting some answers to. But the commentary in MO2 is pretty bad. Again, you really don't need to watch it. One last thing before I get started is there will be a second video in the description of this video that is just the MO2 part of the walk in full without any commentary for anyone who wants to see the pretty scenery or whatnot. Before I do the walk in MO2, I wanted to get a bit of a baseline first. So I went back into Mortal Online 1 and did the walk there, exiting from the Tindrem main gate and following the road all the way to Fabernum. It ended up taking me about 24 minutes and 3 seconds, which wasn't too bad, I thought. So, going off of how big the map in Mortal Online 2 is, it's 6 times bigger overall. Somebody said that means it's 2.6 times bigger in each direction, I believe. Don't quote me on that. So I thought the Mortal Online 2 section would take about 3 times that much. So I thought it would be a bit over an hour, like an hour and 10 minutes. It ended up only being 49 minutes and 20 seconds, though. And I say that like that's not a lot of time, but that's actually quite a while. And I had to do the whole trip basically twice because as I was getting to Fab in the second part, Vicness showed up and killed me. And I didn't want to have a cut, so I went back and started the whole thing over again, which is why the MO2 part is such a mess commentary-wise. So after that, my job was done. I know how long it takes to walk in both games now. I have a comparison. But then I wondered, how long does it take to run between them? So in MO1, it only took 11 minutes to run there, and in MO2, it took 22 minutes and 58 seconds to run there. So yeah, the time to run between the two is actually considerably shorter than the walk, because your characters actually run more than twice as fast as you do when you're walking. Um, in Mortal 1, you walk at 80 what? I don't know. And Thebe, who's admittedly not a great character dex-wise and has free-to-play skills, runs at 168, so a little over half. In MO2, you walk at 170 centimeters a second, I believe, and you run at 357 centimeters a second. We actually have a number for the distance in MO2, which is nice. So then I thought, hey, I've already done walking and running. I might as well do ghosting. So I did ghosting between the two. And in Mortal 1, ghosting only took 4 minutes and 45 seconds, and in Mortal 2, it only took 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Now you should note that in all these scenarios, I ran down the road the whole way, which means for ghosting especially, if I just beelined it straight for Fabernum and didn't take the road, I could get there much faster. And if I used priest hopping, I could get there even faster. So if you have to ghost between cities, it won't take that long, thankfully. So with the one character limit that they've imposed on us, this helps a bit, but if you want to transport goods between cities, it's going to take considerably longer, at least on foot. We don't have mounts yet in World 2, so I didn't bother doing a comparison there. So yeah, that's it. I set out to do a silly thing, and here are the results. There will be more videos like this probably once the other cities come out. Some will be directly from Tindrem, some will be town to town. We'll see, who knows. And I got some more videos planned coming up. There's going to be some teamfight videos that I took part in. I might put out some more wandering and Knave videos, which are my videos where I just walk around an area that looks nice without the UI on and whatnot. And I actually have another Welcome to Mortal Online coming out soon. I wasn't really expecting to be making any more videos for Mortal Online 1, but here we are. I've gotten the itch again. I want to go out and explore. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Here comes the walkie parts. Okay, so this video is going to be a bit of a doozy, and that's because it's going to be really, really long probably. I can't say how long because I haven't recorded it yet, but the basic gist is we will be walking from the Tindrem gate here all the way to Fabernum. And as I said, we're going to be not going to be running, we're going to be walking. We're going to be RP walking. The idea for this more or less came about after several of the team fights we've had during the alphas. Some of them have been out here in front of the Tindrem gate. Most of them are in Fabernum. But people have complained a little about having to run between the two and how long that takes. And, you know, to be fair, it does take a while, but that kind of made me wonder. That's them complaining when they're running there and sprinting or going as a ghost. And going as a ghost doesn't take that long at all. So I wanted to know, how long is it going to take to walk there? But before we do this journey in this game, I want a bit of a baseline first. And for that, we're going to have to go to the other mortal first. Okay, and welcome to Mirland from 300 years in the past. Oh great, it started raining. What a great sign for how this is going to go. And while I might be doing the journey in MO2 with the UI off for nice scenic view, I shall not be doing that in MO1, because if I remember correctly, further east towards the Grand Bridge, on the turn to Fabernum, there are some ranger bandits that can spawn, and I don't think they would take very kindly to me trying to walk past my little RP walk. So for that, I have brought a little insurance. Carcass, come here. Yes, good Mulva. Phase through the wall. Now, Tarkus here is going to be a distraction if and when I run into them. I'm pretty sure they'll be there, unless somebody's killed them or maybe I'm remembering the wrong spot, but yeah, so that's how that's gonna go. Okay, let us begin. Oh boy, hearing Tarkus stomping back behind me, that's gonna get old really quick probably, but oh well, this is what I have chosen to do, so I'm going to see it through. A few things to note. The weather in ML1's changed since I last played for any significant amount of time at least. Because I remember back in the day the rain used to be basically invisible. It didn't change the sky or anything, it was just noise. It kind of sucked. But you know, the skies actually get dark, there's some fog rolling in, you can see the rain, there's droplets on the ground. There might have always been droplets, but you can see the rain, so you know that's a nice improvement made there. One big difference, though, in Mortal 2 is there's no vineyard out in front of Tindrem. I don't know if they're going to be putting that in, or if they're going to treat that, since they added a farm further to the south with some orchards and stuff over the hill. I don't know if that's going to be the replacement for the vineyard, but I hope it comes back because, gosh, it really was. It's a really nice looking spot to come out of Tindrem to. One thing I don't miss though is the awful, like, barely visible road. You know, like there's not a lot of roads in Mortal 1 to begin with, but when they did the engine update, it's like something went wrong with texture blending or something, because you can't see the road in a lot of places now where it used to be visible. And it also screwed up some of the textures up in the mountains and stuff. That engine update really did a number on this game. Because first there was the engine update, and that hurt my interest quite a bit because of a lot of different problems that just hurt me to no end. Stuff like the road being gone, that's a tiny little, or yeah, whatever, I can live with that, but a lot of that stuff just built up, like the Spiritism Island breaking and having the rocks floating, the path to the jungle south of Bhakti not having a road anymore because it's just underwater now. Tons of stuff like that, which was just really annoying to deal with. And one reason I wanted to do this in Mortal 1 first, though, is because Muirland isn't actually that big in this game. Once you know where you're going and have mounts and stuff, like it only takes like 15 minutes to ride to Bhakti on a donkey, and a donkey's not especially fast. So if you took a quick horse, it would only take 10, maybe less. So that's it's kind of hard to compare scale into two because I don't have a way to measure distance exactly in this game. In Mortal 2, the speed stat tells you that you're running in centimeters per second, so players in that run at like 357 centimeters per second, so that's 3.5 meters a second. So, you know, that's pretty good, but in this game, the run speeds are like half that, and I don't know if that's because if it's at the same rate, but because it just doesn't say. And I know in Mortal 2 the walk speed's like 160 or something, where in this game it's only 80. So if it is the same sort of distance or like speed per second, you're considerably slower in this game, though it doesn't really feel like that. Though again, that might be because the world's smaller. Oh gosh, this is probably going to be a really rambly video. I don't blame anyone who doesn't want to watch all of it. I'll end up linking the start and finish of both runs in the end, and I'll also probably upload a version of each without commentary. Those will be unlisted though, since I don't want to flood the channel with stuff like that. See, the pig farm's on the other side of that rock, and I don't think we'll be seeing the pig farm in this video, or in this part of the video, because you don't actually pass through it in Mortal 1, but in Mortal 2, we do pass through it. That's one little difference there. But there isn't a giant, there isn't this boulder that you see everywhere, all over the map. There's the one in, like, south of Meduli. I think there's another one in the Tindrem Garden. That rock gets around. Okay, I'm just looking at the clock. This part probably won't take that long. It's only been about 7 minutes. I probably should have thought of more stuff to say, though. Like I said, this is probably just going to be me rambling. Oh, I guess what I could have done, well, I guess I still could do, but I won't, because I've already started this, is I could have somebody else come along with me, and we could just chat while we're walking and make it more like a podcast that has our destination as the end time. Not sure anyone would want to do this with me, though. Not many people are gonna put up with the nonsense I'm going to put up with in this game. Because I also plan to do this for the other towns when they come out. I'll do one for Tindrem to Meduli, Tindrem to Bhakti, Tindrem to Makai, maybe Fabernum to Kernesh, Meduli to Vada. Who knows? But, you know, it might be cool to have a DT or one of the other people I played with over the years to just come along and chat about the game, or maybe some interesting stories that they had during a guild war or something. Hell, it doesn't even have to be somebody I played with, if it's like war stories, because a lot of the people I played with when I was playing, we didn't politic that much, at least around me. I kind of stayed out of mortal politics, except for the one time I was inadvertently dragged into it when my house, which happens to be next to the houses that I had, was sieged. But yeah, that's an idea, I guess, if depending on the feedback I get for this video. I'll see if DT or someone else wants to come along. Might be fun. Oh, and another idea for a video I had, I might not do this one because it's dumb even for me. I'm kind of curious, how long does it take to swim? Come on, Ottawa. I was kind of curious, how long does it take to swim around Muirland? I mean, you can't exactly do that, I think, because of the drop that'll happen by Meduli, but you could just go down there and then continue on. So that might be a thing, though if I do that, that would be a sped up video. I'm probably gonna talk in that. And there's one of the nice little gazebos that we have dotted around the landscape in this, I guess, Tindrem part of the map. There's that one on the hill. I think there's two by the lake south of Fabernum. There's the one in the Tindrem Gardens. We don't have any of those in Mortal 2 yet. I'm not sure if they will put them in. Maybe they were destroyed. Oh, and that's another thing. The Kranesh Bridge. In Mortal Online 1, it's a nice stone bridge. In Mortal 2, it's a kind of rickety-looking wooden bridge. So I'd probably prefer it to be more like it is in Mortal 1. But, you know, again, it could have been destroyed, but if it was destroyed, there'd probably still be some rubble left over. And I guess I do technically prefer Tindrem, the main capital city, having a stone paved road as opposed to the dirt road we have in Mortal 2, but the roads overall are much better in Mortal 2. For one, they're visible. Two, there's just more of them. You have the main road that people would travel along with a wagon, which is big enough for that, and then you have a bunch of little side roads going to, like, houses or fishing ponds or lakes or other stuff like that. Okay, the pig farm's over there now. Still cannot see it. Might not happen. Oh, hello, little rabbit. Did they always have rabbits outside of the city? I always thought they were only in the garden. Yes, hello, little friend. Don't get crushed by my mulva here. Oops. I gotta be careful to not cancel that auto run. Don't want this to take longer than it has to. Oh, we're finally coming up on the, what are those? Willow trees that's around Fabernum, so should not be too much longer before the turn. Oh yeah, and in fact that rock right there is more or less where the turn up is, and there's the graveyard. So let's keep our eye out for the bandits. I might have to stop for a second, which will add up on the timer a little, but it's not going to matter too much in this grand scheme of things in this game, because no matter what I do, it's going to be much shorter than it will be in the other game. Okay, there's two commoners. There's a bandit. Are there any others? Okay, I just see him. Okay, Tarkus, I'm going to send you in a second. I'll put you on defensive as well. Oh, wait. Okay, we're gonna cut it a little. If we don't have to fight, we won't. I think we've made it. And if you notice my camera getting jerkier, that's because I'm doing the walking parts with a controller that I've keybound to work with Mortal, because you get some nicer movement, camera movement that way. That's how I did the Fabernum Tower video as well. Okay, since we're out of danger, I think I'll switch back. I don't know whether Tarkus could take on a veteran bandit. I mean, he certainly has enough health. I'd hope he could, but... Well, and soon the graveyard will be in view. That's not in Mortal 2 yet. I don't know if they'll be doing graveyards the same way. I hope they do the Fabernum one, though. Actually, I hope they do most of them, because the Fabernum one has its own dungeon under it. It has the Fabernum sewers. I know with the... What is that? Why is there a tornado? That's not right. But anyway, I know with the Fabernum Tower, they added a sewer section to it in Mortal 2. So maybe they'll skip it on the graveyard for this one, but what would be really cool is if they made the sewer under the Fabernum graveyard again, and then connected it to the tower. So it could be more like the Tindrem sewers, where there's 2 entrances and exits. I don't know, just a thought though. Might be really hard to connect the two since this is on lower elevation, and connecting a cliff all the way from there to down there, wherever it is, that would suck. You might end up with Tindrem sewer tunnels like we have now, where you have to run in a corkscrew in a little ugly stone thing for a while to get anywhere, which really wasn't that great. Oh, we will see the big farm. We're not going to pass through it, but I guess we can see it from over here. Oh boy. That wind sure is windy. Okay, we've almost made it. Fabernum is close and have not been murdered, though I guess I don't really need to be worried about being murdered at this point. There's only like 30 people playing, at most. Oh, I guess that, if you really want to be quick, you could just go out the garden gate, since that's open now, and run out through the farm to Fabernum. That would be really quick, actually. So I guess you technically can do it through the farm in this one as well. But the whole point of this video, and others like it, it's going to be taking more or less what I deemed the main road. Because in Mortal 2, I could make it longer if I want to. I'm pretty sure if you follow the Tindrem Road south, you eventually will take a road east that will lead you through the Colored Forest, which will eventually take you to Fabernum, but I'm not doing that. That sounds like it would be even worse. Oh, hello, spider. Where did that... Nope. I think that was an outline. Where did that tornado go? I know I saw it. Yeah, look, maybe I'm wrong, but I could have sworn that before the engine update, these roads were more visible and probably neater. I don't know if I ever did a video on the Fabernum sewers. I might have to get a team together. and go do all the dungeons I never did that aren't, you know, horrible hellscapes to do. Like, I recorded partially a dungeon with like 50 people in it in Sarduka once, so that never ended up being a video. And that was hell. So that probably won't happen since there's not even that many people that play anymore. Maybe it wasn't 50, maybe it was more like 25, but it was still a lot of people to do a dungeon. Even compared to the Seder dungeon where we had like 8, 10, and we had a bunch of pets as well. Though, if I do manage to get Necromancy unlocked before the servers shut down, I hear Death Knights are pretty good. Maybe I could get a Death Knight to carry me through some stuff. But first I have to unlock Necromancy, and then find out where the heck you get a Death Knight scroll. And then figure out where you get a ritual stone. I stumbled across the ritual blood by complete accident. But... oh, yes, TC. And... well, it's not stuff like this exactly. I mean, I think this is kind of garish, and I hate how it's in the road. But the TC update is really what kind of killed my enjoyment of the game. I remember coming back one time after a break. I want to go do what I usually do in the game. To go do something in the jungle. And the area I was trying to go to was... oh god, that is a tornado. But anyway, yeah, the area I was trying to get to was walled off. I don't remember whether it was I was trying to get to... there's a beach I used to get magnetons to dominate at. I also used to get green Jimbura or jungle horses. There's a lot of stuff I did in the jungle, so could be any of those things that I want to go do and just couldn't anymore, and that was really disappointing. Okay, there's the Fabernum gate. Let's hope we can get there before this tornado turns back around. I hope that doesn't kill me. Does the wind actually go in the direction of the tornado? That would be neat. I mean, it seems to be. Well, I don't see it. Hello, Fabernum. Oops, canceled my walk there for a second. I have it on a toggle, so I don't have to hold down the button the whole time. Another node line, maybe? I don't know. I am not a fan of the keybind situation in this game or the alpha for 2. Like, I can't jump while holding my sprint key in the alpha, which is perplexing because I can do it in this game. So I have it bound not to default. I have it bound alt for my sprint key. Because I play Mortal in their old, what used to be labeled Skyrim controls when they had it in the config. But here we are. We have made it, Tarkus. I guess I'll do a cut and find out exactly how long it took to get there, and then come back real quick to talk about it. Ugh. What on... texture? Where have you gone? That is not right. Okay, I just checked the footage, and we completed the first leg of our journey in about 24 minutes and 22 seconds. So yeah, that was a little shorter than I thought it would be, but like I said, Mirland in this game is really not as big as you think it is. So, yeah, that wasn't too bad. Let's, I guess get ready for the next one. Okay, now we're back in Mortal 2 for the second round of this trip, and the weather seems to be a bit nicer. Well, I mean, it looks a bit dark and gloomy over there, but hey, it's not raining. That's a solid improvement. And there's probably no tornadoes. So, yeah, let's get underway. Okay, and let us begin. I hope there isn't a team fight today, because it's, like an hour and a half when I started this before team fights would usually start if they happen. And if I end up getting to Fabernum as there's a team fight going on and somebody IDs me as an enemy and they just start murdering me, I'm gonna have to start all over, and that would really suck. Oh god, I hope that doesn't happen. There's no one fighting out here, by the looks of it. I think we're home free. Oh no, there's a person. Oh, please don't attack me. Please don't attack me. I think that's Vicness. That's Vicness. Vicness, no! No, Vicness, please. I have to make it to Fabernum. If I don't, I'm gonna have to restart. Oh no. Why? Why? Oh. Suffering. Pure suffering. Like, I'm not angry at Vicness or anything, but why? Why? I'm so close. And I know I could just run to my respawn, go to where my corpse bag is, and continue walking. I could do that, but I won't. Okay, let's hope this goes better this time. And begin. So yeah, by the time I got back ghosting from Fab to Tindrem, it was raining and it was nighttime, so I just went and got some lunch and did some other stuff for a while, and now I'm back. It's nice and daytime again. In fact, the clouds are less gloomy down south than they were before. It's not raining. All is well. And I think more importantly, this time, before I started, I went and checked Vicness's stream to make sure he's at least not in Fabernum. But no, he's playing the first Immortal right now, so hopefully I should be good. So yeah, that was a minor setback. I spent all that time walking 3 kilometers only to, or about 3 kilometers only to get horribly murdered. That's what I get for opening my mouth. I shouldn't have, I should not have said that that might happen. That's probably why it happened. But let's see. as you can see, there's no vineyard out here in MO2, which is kind of disappointing, but I don't know if they'll put it back because these hills and this landscape just doesn't really look like it would support having a vineyard in it. It's too rocky and uneven. And again, there's over the hill, there is a farm that has some orchards and stuff in it, so we might just not get the vineyard anymore, which, oh well. And on this side, we have the nice looking Tindrem wall. Very different than MO1. It's a lot less fancy. Like, especially the gate in MO1 has like a big spire in it and a giant, like, golden Tindrem symbol hanging in it. And this time they don't have that. However, the wall does look a lot more like the wall they showed off in the original Mortal Online trailer. Especially with those little golden roofed towers that are dotted around it. Yeah, I'm very curious how Tindrem's going to turn out. Because they've changed the style of the wall greatly. And in the original Mortal, the walls, the aqueducts, the mage towers, and the palace were all built in a very similar style and texture. And then the rest of Tindrem was like typical Roman or Greek city look. Which I think maybe that's because I believe the Ogmir helped the Tindremines build Tindrem. They might have built those parts and the giant statues that are currently absent. And the Tindremines might have just built the rest of the city the way they like to build their own houses. But I can't really say. There's probably where the arena is going to end up being. Oh, and the arena, it didn't match the style of the walls or any other parts of Tindrem. It was kind of a little odd looking. I do wonder though, because they're going for a more grounded look this time, I suppose. But I really liked how the Mage District Palace and the two giant statues looked in the past. So are they going to not have those? Are they going to make them much simpler? It would be a shame if Tindrem just turned into like a generic Roman city with nothing spectacular about it. One thing I really liked about Tindrem is it's a pretty big city and it has a whole lot of different stuff in it. And like, especially when I started, if you wanted to be a mage, because you spawned in the gardens and there was no tutors yet to give you like a little care package to start playing the way you want, if you wanted to be a mage, you had to walk all the way to the Mage District, which took like 10 minutes because you had no foot speed skill. So it took forever, and getting around the town was kind of like, oh. And, it took a long time to actually find all the things that there are in Tindrem. Tindrem has tons of stuff in it. And they just kept adding more. Hopefully there's the maze now, that's a thing. I actually made an episode for that, but I ended up never getting it done. Yeah, I spent quite a long time, well, not long, several hours mapping out that maze, and not so sure that was worth it. None of the loot I ever got out of there was very good. I mean, I got some necromancy spells, but I still don't have necromancy unlocked, so I can't really do much about that. And another thing, there is an old picture of Tindrem. I don't know exactly when it was made, but it showed the slums and the dock and whatnot except it was much bigger. And there was a giant harbor in between that part of the city and the main part. So I wonder if maybe they'll go back and make Tindrem look more like it did in that, because I wouldn't mind that at all. That would be fantastic. And is it gosh, because Tindrem's big. Are they going to make it bigger in this one? Because if Tindrem's bigger, oh dear, you're going to be able to actually get lost in that city now, which would be kind of funny. Most MMO cities, they're not that big, really. Oh, there's a nice little fishing pond. Okay, and here's the turnoff for, I guess, what in MO1 would have originally been the pig farm gate, but the pig farm is much further to the east now, so that's not even visible. And there's probably going to be another gate out of Tindrem, because if you go over the mountains, there's actually a road leading from the northern part of Tindrem out along the mountains there in the snow area, which is really nice because there's a lot more up there now. Like there's a whole giant snowy forest. There's a trail running along the northern edge of the mountain, and that actually goes all the way east to an area that looks like Cave Camp. It might be Cave Camp, but we don't quite know yet. But yeah, I discovered that after I spent a long time. I ended up finding that cave camp looking area. I went north, found that trail, and then I just spent like ages going along the mountain looking for ways to climb up it. And I eventually found some crevices that you could go up, and that got me up pretty high. I was able to see Tindrem, Fabernum, and Grenesh, like all from the same view up there. And I even got high enough to almost see that lake to the south that looks like Sausage Lake. But we don't know if it's Sausage Lake or not yet. It's big and looks like it could be. I almost got high enough to show that as well, but getting that and Tindrem in the same shot is really hard. Could not see the Medullae ruin though, which I guess that's not very big, so you might not be able to see that. And that hill's in the way, so even if Medullae was in, you probably wouldn't be able to see Medullae. Though you could potentially see Vada, depending where they put it. Oh, and here's I have several landmarks on this trip that I've marked, and this is the first. It's a small little pond. You can't really see the pond from this angle, with a island with a much bigger tree than all the others on it. I wonder if that's going to be an ironwood tree or something. I really like how this area looks. Like it would be fun to live in this little grove or whatever, but Probably wouldn't be the safest place, to be honest, because Tindrem's right over there. And Tindrem is not exactly a good place to live. One thing I'll say is the walking animation in this game is much. It's a lot less stiff than Mortal 1. I like it quite a lot. I also like the female running animations more because they're not. Ever since they did the. It wasn't the engine update, it was. They did the update that changed the character models and redid all the armor models and stuff. That update, I believe, is the one that gave female characters a different running animation, which I was never really a fan of because if you're running around in plate armor in that armor, it looks really stupid. Like, I guess it's fine for like a Vila mage that runs around naked or whatever, but well, first of all, screw Vila, screw Alvarn in general. They are hideous elf creatures that deserve to be killed on the spot. But like, if you could choose between walking or running animations and idle animations like some games have, that would be a cool thing. I wouldn't mind having animations like that. Like, especially again for mages or people who aren't running around in armor, but if you run around like that in armor, it just does not work. And they seem to be going for a bit more realism visually this time, so that probably won't happen. Which is good. I will not miss that. Gosh, sometimes I can't get over how much nicer this game looks than the original. Like, just walking in this forest, it's kind of pretty. I mean, you take this similar area in the old game, and it's just, yeah, whatever. There's not really much foliage that, like, aside from bushes and pickables, a lot of uh, Mirland just doesn't have grass or stuff. It's just all a flat texture, which uh, I know some people don't like the grass too so much because it's tall and a lot of it gets in the way of seeing stuff. Especially if you're small, that'll probably kind of screw you over a little in some places. But well, it looks so much nicer now. Let's see, we're about 15 minutes through the 16 minutes through the journey. Uh, so we're making progress, but we're not even at the pig farm yet. So that's an indicator of how long this is going to take. Because let's see, the world's they say it's 6 times larger, but somebody went and explained to me that that means it's like 2.6 times bigger in each direction. So if it takes 24 minutes to get to Fabernum in Mortal 1, that means it'll probably take a little over an hour in this game. Um, I'd have to guess like an hour and 10 minutes, maybe. Now, when we're coming up on this little, I guess it's two cliffs with a pass that goes down them, but it's not that big. It's a cool looking area. I'd really like to fight down in this little canyon that it has in it, that you'll be able to see in a second. Like, if it didn't take, like, 10 seconds to run around to the other side, it would be fun to hold off a bunch of people attacking this little canyon out with spears and whatnot. You could do a 300 thing here. Though hopefully with armor, because not having armor on would be a very quick way to die. And in fact, south of that pass, there's a little circle of dirt on the ground that connects to a road. It looks like something should be there. I don't know if it's just not done yet, because a lot of stuff up in this area isn't. Like Tindrem especially has a lot of floating rocks and weird stuff at it. But maybe they want to put something there, or maybe there was once something there. It could also be a keep spot, maybe, or just a spot that they want people to build houses. I don't really know. I'm also curious how houses are going to work. Not really in how you place them. I'm sure that'll be fine, but because, like I was talking about earlier, there's no like sticking out grass textures in Mortal Online 1. So when you put stuff down, it didn't really matter. But now that there's all this grass and stuff everywhere, if you put down a house, it could end up being like Ark or Conan Exiles or one of those games where you put down a foundation and there's just a bunch of grass or like tiny saplings sticking through it, and it just that's the kind of stuff that drives me off insane. I do not like that. Some games get around it by letting you get rid of that stuff. And then there's others, I think maybe Fallout 4 does this, or if you put, or no, Fallout 76 does this, I think, which is an odd game to give props to, but if you put stuff down, it'll remove some of the little doodads in the area so that things will work. I don't know if it gets rid of the grass, but if they were able to do something like that so that it doesn't look weird, that would be nice, because it's really annoying in all those other games having to put down foundations at heights that don't look natural, just so that you have to avoid seeing grass everywhere inside your house. And here we are coming up on the big farm. Only 20 minutes into the journey, so we'd almost beat a Fabernum now, and we're only now just getting to this little pig farm, which I don't even know if we should be calling it a pig farm anymore. Because in Mortal 1, I don't think there's pigs there now. I ran by there after recording the first part of the video in the old game, just to get back to Tindrem. So I took the quicker way, and there's chickens there now, which I don't know when they actually added chickens, but there they go. So now it's a chicken farm, but I guess we'll all still keep calling it the pig farm. Or maybe they'll put pigs back in. Who knows? I don't really have any complaints about the pig farm. It's a bit different than the old game, but looks fine. The barns are nicer, I guess. Yeah, and I wonder how cooking's going to work, if it's going to be similar, because I killed a chicken. Those things don't drop very much carcass, and that's a problem in the old game. If you want to cook something or just butcher something that doesn't have high carcass yields, it's really annoying to get enough to use it for anything. like trying to catch enough, kill enough rabbits or chickens to get enough meat out of them for cooking. It's like, oh no, no thanks. And if you wanted weasel meat, I think the only weasel that spawns is Rosie, and she does not give a lot of carcass. So you kind of be screwed there. So I don't know if you probably don't balance. Like you could make it give more carcass, but it just doesn't weigh a lot or give as much. But I don't know how to balance that really. That was also annoying for getting stuff like bat meat, which I don't think most people would ever have any use for bat meat, but I farmed that for quite a while to try to get blue dye when I was experimenting with that. Bat meat did not turn out so well. In fact, I never really got a great dye. The closest I got was I got a bit of water scorpion through lots of time spent fishing, but I still didn't get a lot. And I mixed that with walker meat, and that I got an an off turquoise looking thing. It like you could say it's blue, but it wasn't really the nice blue that I was looking for. I spent a lot of time dyeing Immortal, and you could make every color except for blue. It's mildly frustrating. It's like green, easy. Red, yellow, orange, even easier. You can make those with a vendor item. You want to make purple, that's a little more annoying. You have to kill a spider queen to get purple, but once you kill a spider queen, you just have it. It's tons of it, and it's really nice purple. But blue, I spent so much time trying to get that color, and I just never did. Before I stopped playing the game almost entirely, I was talking to one of my friends, and he found a material, or somebody told him of a material, I don't quite remember, that could potentially make a good blue, though I never found out at the time because I was a free to play character. All of my characters were free to play, and I couldn't even get my skills high enough to extract the what supposed material. I don't even know if this material exists. I don't remember what it's called. All I remember is I believe it comes from Cerullite, which I've tried to mine a little Cerullite recently. That's not very fun. I tried to. I'm like, oh, there's a bridge. Okay, I'll go over there. Oh, there's bandits, and then that's not going to work because I could not kill the bandits on my own. Thieves just not built for that. If I could get on Miharl, my Callard archer, I could probably do it, but I don't actually have access to that account right now because I don't remember how to log on to it. So Miharl could probably do it, but can't get that. My other characters definitely not. So the only way I've gotten Cerullite so far is I've swam that to the bottom of it, climbed up on it, and then mined a little bit of it before swimming back. I guess I could do that, but that just seems like a lot of effort for not a lot of reward, especially since even though I have a lifetime sub now, my character that can do extracting is built mostly like a free-to-play character. Because ever since they changed how armor crafting works and weapon crafting, I don't feel the need to level those up to max, really. Having 90% effectiveness is more or less good enough for what I'm going to be doing. Might look into that blue dye more. It would be nice to figure it out before the game instead. That would be a nice little thing to actually get done. And it's a thing I could actually do. A lot of stuff I've been trying to do just doesn't really work by yourself, or at least with a bad character. So I've been looking into necromancy a bit, but can't unlock that on Thebe, really. So we'll end up seeing how that goes. Oh, and now the Fabernum Tower is in the distance over there. Which means, you know, we've made some progress. We're at the 28-minute, 30-second mark now. I'm curious if all those flowers are going to be pickable, or if just some of them, like, because picking stuff in Mortal can be annoying, but if there's this much of it, should theoretically be a lot easier, though. If it doesn't disappear when you pick it, it might be hard to figure out what's already been harvested. But if you do take it, make it disappear after harvesting it, a lot of the game would probably end up turning really ugly. Like the very first time I played the New World, when it was in alpha, I logged in. I could see trees in the distance, but as I got close and the LODs disappeared, there were no trees anywhere I looked. It was just completely deforested. I'm like, oh, I guess I won't play because I can't get wood to do anything. Maybe another time. No, now we're coming across. A lot of the flower fields have, I don't know if you can see them yet. We'll see them as we get closer. There's little dandelion puffballs that are floating up in the air. I don't really like those. They're just kind of distracting, and I don't think they're placed super well. There's too many of them. Like, imagine if you built a house on top of one of these areas. You'd probably have those floating up and down through your house, and that would be awful. Yep, a bit of lag there. I think that maybe that's one of the. I think they're calling them streamlines instead of node lines in this game. At least some of the players are. Uh, it's a lot less worse. It's a lot better than crossing over a node line, because in Mortal, you cross over a node line, the game's gonna freeze up and hitch sometimes, and like combat around those areas just breaks. But in this game, it just seems to be you know, your FPS drops for a second. It feels like you're lagging and then clears up real quick. Okay, soon-ish, at some point, we should be crossing, to our south, there will be one of two ruined houses that will pass by. The first one's a little far out, but once you get to the second one, you're pretty close to the Fabernum River at that point. Oh, in fact, I think I can see the house from here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. We'll have a more clear view of it soon. Oh, and here's one of those weird roads that it goes up there for a little while, then it just ends in a dead end. Again, I'm wondering if places like that are going to be for building property or something, or if they're just there. I don't know. Or hell, maybe once they're more finished with the area up north, there could be a road up there. Have that connect to that northern Tindrem route through the mountain somehow. Oops, stop there for a second. The auto run is not always best. At least, especially with this controller I'm using. I try to go right a little and I hit forward and that cancels it. Okay, yes, there's a little ruined house. And I believe up there is there's a road that leaves north. It winds up and back and forth for a while. Then it heads east and it connects up to Fabernum from a different side. The mountains are just a lot, there's a lot more there now. And traversing them will probably be significantly less of a pain with more roads. Just a lot in them in general. That's just Mortal, this game in general. There's so many more roads. It's so much nicer. Like, I always found it very weird that Tindrem to Fabernum and sort of Fabernum to Kranesh. I don't know if there was even a road to Morinker. I don't go out there enough. Like, I guess it makes sense that Vada or Bhakti and Makai don't have big roads on them because they're just little villages in the middle of nowhere, but for major cities it was always kind of weird to not have paths. Oh, yes, and there's the Rainbow Forest. Much bigger than in the original. Like, I've gotten lost in there a few times. Wow. And the reason I keep getting lost is I keep running into there looking for... The very first time I came there, it was night, and I came across a little pond with a tree in it that looked really nice. Not like that one back near Tindrem. That's a lot bigger. This one was just like a tiny little tree. But it was a nice looking area. I'm like, oh, this is a cool looking grove. But every time I've gone back since to look for it, I haven't been able to find it. I'm sure I'll find it eventually when I'm currently working on a map for this game. I've basically started just with the roads, rivers, and lakes and whatnot. I'm kind of leaving mountains and elevation and stuff until later. Map's not perfect. I've kind of screwed up in a major way, but it does work for the most part. But yeah, once I get to mapping out the forest, though, gosh, I'm not sure how I'm gonna even begin to do that. I'll see if I can find that lake, because I need to find it again. It's probably not even as good as I'm making it out to be, but I need to find it. And here we are coming up on the second house, which means our journey is getting close now. The river is only a short distance from this house. Then we walk north a while, cross the bridge, and we're there. Assuming there's no Vignes this time. I probably... I should have kept his stream up just so I could be doubly sure. But hey, maybe it won't be him this time. Though I guess even though Vignes did kill me, and sent me back, kinda, it might turn out for the best because about here it was the crickets were starting to chirp and it was starting to get kind of dark. Well, it wasn't getting dark, but the sun was getting lower, and the eye adaptation was kicking in. And anyone who's been playing the alpha knows the eye adaptation is super aggressive in this game. It does not look good. It just basically blinds you every time you look somewhere when the sun's low, or if you look into a dark place. It's really bad. But yeah, towards the end last time I was getting that a lot. I was basically having to walk while looking at the ground, which sort of defeats the purpose of this video. That's why I'm doing it with a controller and everything, so that my camera movements are nice and smooth, in theory. One weird thing I discovered is Mortal doesn't have controller support, except for the right analog stick. That works by default. You can actually use it to look around. At first I was having this horrible issue because I bound that thinking, oh, well, it doesn't have controller support. I gotta do this. But everything, like all of my camera movements were really weird looking. And I'm like, what if I just unbind this? Oh, it already has support for this. That's weird. Since I definitely don't think they'd ever do a console port for this game. I suspect the performance would not be very good, and the combat, if you were on the same server as other players, and considering it's Mortal, there's only one server, so you'd be on the same server as everyone else, you'd just get killed constantly. It would just be a slaughter, unless you could use a mouse and keyboard, which you could. It could be like Final Fantasy, or I think Warframe does that too. But if you couldn't, just don't bother. And again, they're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. You can't really see it from this angle, but there's another little pond to fish at. Got that flickering there. I do not like that. Yeah, there's a lot of little lighting bugs, especially, that they just need to hammer out. There's so much of them. Like if you turn your shadows low in this game, or turn the AA low, it ruins the visuals. Like, because the clouds, those are actual clouds. That's not just in the skybox, which I initially thought it was, but they're actually there. They affect shadows and stuff. So if you turn that off, it just starts flickering constantly in the shade. It's awful. I hate it. Though if you climb up the mountains to get a good view up there, you actually end up in the clouds. Like, I was like, oh, it doesn't look right yet. There's a weird like screen effect at the bottom of the screen. It doesn't look right. But once you're actually properly up in the cloud, it just looks foggy. It's like, oh, they actually did that. They're real. That's neat. And it's somewhere up there is where And on that mountain is where I've been in the clouds. In fact, one of the other players, Valorant, he tested the character view distance in this game, which right now it's supposedly around 1 kilometer, which is much better than the original game. That the old player render distance was terrible. If it's actually 1 kilometer, I want to take someone up there. Oh gosh, that would be a pain to try to show someone else how to get up there when I even struggle getting back up there since all the crevices look the same and finding the right one takes a while. But get someone else up there, get them to hold a torch out, then I come back down here and see if I can see them. If I could, that would be really cool. It would also be cool to test it the other way, but first I'd want to see it from down here. Which again means, because the way I get up there is, I probably already said this, run all the way to Cave Camp, or the east of the Minnow Dungeon. That might not be Cave Camp. Run north along. And then you climb up the crevices, and you eventually get to the south side of the mountain, and where there's some nice plateaus that you can look out over. Oh yeah, we're doing much better this time. I can actually look up this entire part of the old video. I was just looking like this because I couldn't actually look without the screen going dark. I guess I caught the I started at an earlier time this time, so we still have the sun in the sky. And to harp on the torch thing again, that I mentioned in my first Mortal 2 video, and I've also mentioned in a suggestion on the forums, if they ever make it so that when you're holding a torch, you don't actually have to have the torch out and you can just walk normally like this and hold the torch properly, I might do some nighttime videos like this, because it would be cool to like walk around like this looking like a guard who's on patrol through the roads at night. But right now, you'd have to do it in combat mode, which does not... You don't want to walk around like that for a patrol. That's kind of silly looking. Okay, we're getting close. Like, really close. Uh, okay, we're coming up on about the time where we were killed last time. The bridge is right over there, behind those trees. Hopefully, things do not go awry. Gosh, the mountains really do look a lot better now that they've actually put snow and stuff on them. In the past, before in the alpha, they didn't look that great, but the snow really is an improvement. They just need to hammer out the, I guess, far distance textures on them for parts of it, and do some optimization, because the mountains update has really killed a lot of people's FPS in this area when looking north. Okay, I can see the bridge. I can see the wall through the trees. I'm almost free. For the second time. God, what is wrong with me? Why am I like this? Why did I do this a second time? I almost made it. I could have just like continued on for where I died and been done with it, but no, no, I had to do it again. Why am I like this? And once again, I think we're in the clear. Don't want to jinx myself, but I don't see somebody coming this time. We have our good old stable on the other side of town this time. Stuff like that's kind of weird to me, but the game doesn't have to be exactly as it was, but bigger. I mean, I'd sort of prefer that in some ways, but a lot of the map did need improvements, so, go ahead, change things. It doesn't matter. I will say the gate for Fabernum, it's a lot less defensive now. There's, before it had like a... I don't remember if it had a portcullis, but it did have like a gatehouse with a turn in it. But now it's just like a wide open thing. There's no way to close it. Somebody's reviving. Don't look at them. Keep walking. Maybe they won't kill you. Okay, once we cross that line right there, we'll be done. Oh, it's over. I'm free. I can do other things. Hello, Fabernum.